Nothing can possibly make up for the pain, suffering, and loss caused by someone else's greed and complete disregard for the sanctity of life in the name of profit. That said, the law provides remedies that allow you to seek compensation for your own financial losses and expenses, as well as for your pain and suffering. It also allows you to ask the court that those who caused your pain and suffering be punished. Torts, defendants, and plaintiffs. Tort is a term which refers to that area of the law dealing with personal injury. You may have heard the term tort reform on television or read something about it in the newspapers. Tort reform is really an attempt by corporate America, through its considerable influence on our government, to evade its responsibilities and shield itself from liability. Through tort reform, corporations who wind up as defendants in liability cases are trying to limit the amount they are required to pay in compensation for the pain and injury they cause to others. One such effort was Senate Bill 852, which would have set up a federal trust fund against which asbestos victims could file claims. Described by the bill's sponsor, Senator Arlen Specter, as a bill to create a fair and efficient system to resolve claims of victims for bodily injury caused by asbestos exposure and for other purposes. SB 852 was actually intended to protect corporate interests and absolve them of all liability. The bill was defeated in a bipartisan vote on February 14, 2006. In June of that same year, a coalition of 47 corporations that included CertainTeed, Owens, Illinois, General Electric, Ingersoll Rand, Union Carbide, and Amchem Products filed a motion in federal court asking that thousands of pending asbestos suits be dismissed. The motion was made on the grounds that certain doctors had refused to answer questions regarding their diagnosis. These doctors were also unwilling to have patient x-rays examined in court. In the opinion of these corporations, this gave cause to question the validity of such diagnosis. To be fair, many of the diagnoses in these cases had been performed in mass screenings that had been funded by unethical attorneys in an attempt to recruit clients. The validity of these diagnoses made on the basis of these screenings was questionable. As a plaintiff, you can help your attorney build a solid case by making sure that you are thoroughly examined and diagnosed by an experienced, qualified oncologist as well as your primary care physician. The diagnosis should include a CAT scan, as well as x-rays, and a biopsy. There should be no room for doubt when evidence of your illness is presented in court. How much? The attorney who represents you should have solid experience in determining compensation for mesothelioma in addition to all other aspects of tort law as it relates to asbestos illness. Compensation for malignant mesothelioma varies from case to case and can range from $650,000 to $3 million. A few recent judgments have even been higher. This depends upon whether or not punitive damages are awarded, the cost of medical care, and the amount of lost income, among other factors. Usually, the attorneys on both sides will make every effort to come to an out-of-court settlement, meaning that the defendant agrees to pay a lesser amount now rather than risk having the judge or jury award a larger amount at the trial's conclusion. While such compensation is usually smaller than a jury award, it can spare you the time and discomfort of litigation, which can and often does proceed for months, if not years. In the end, however, the decision is yours. Your attorney may recommend that you accept the settlement, but you are under no obligation to do so. If your attorney has taken your case on a contingency basis, meaning that he or she and his or her firm receives a percentage of the award or settlement, which is usual practice, he or she will be entitled to recover any fees and expenses before you receive any monies due. For a court award, attorney's fees are around 33%. In addition, he or she and the firm have likely incurred substantial expenses in the course of gathering evidence, which also comes out of the award. An experienced and ethical attorney will have taken these fees and expenses into consideration when determining compensation. However, be aware that legal proceedings can have an element of unpredictability. There is no practical way for any lawyer to know what his or her fees and expenses will finally come to beyond a reasonable estimate. Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information. Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.net, to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.net. Information and help for patients and families.